in a better way, because we have limited time and a huge experience sitting beside us. Now, you really highlighted the process of social change very well. I think what we would like to learn more about is the processes of continuity, which are there. You have hinted at them in terms of the land inequality and the landlessness in rural areas that has persisted. And what are those areas of continuity? And what are perhaps the mechanisms of persistence? Because we know in most societies when change occurs, it can sometimes also block a change, because old elites acquire new forms of power, they make alliances, they use these changes to refurbish their power in new ways. So, are there particular alliances that traditional elites have built and bolstered over time? Are there new forms of power that they have acquired? Those are questions that would be really useful in terms of thinking about patterns of continuity. Another thing which I think is very interesting is that obviously you map this process of social change uniformly for Pakistan. But there were little bits of information which suggested that there is huge spatial or geographic variation. So if you're thinking about Pakistan, yes, the dynamics or the drivers of change you mentioned are a lot more in evidence in northern or central Punjab as opposed to southern Punjab. If you're thinking about migration, here at the Queen Elizabeth House, there's been a recent study by a student who looked at household survey data, and he's shown how the patterns of migration are very different in Sindh or in South Punjab. There is still a lot more migration taking place, but it's not uniformly an experience. So, to what extent there is a sort of regional differentiation? Of course, when you talk about feudalism, the variety we find is, in a sense, the variety of feudal experience. That's the South Punjab is slightly different from Sindh, and Sindh is also different from Balochistan. The other question that your excellent presentation raised is that obviously technology and means of communication have a leveling effect in the sense that they create more mobility in society. But they could also have asymmetric effects in the sense that technology is open not to all classes equally. So there is a sense in which technology or new means of communication can not only multiply intermediaries, but they can also create greater polarization between the lower segments and the upper segments, because these new forms of communication technology are not available to everyone. And then there is a question about a very important question about land, because yes, a lot of power relations might have changed, but land is still very important for political and economic power, more so for political power. And we've seen the military making encroachments into urban areas. We see, as you rightly pointed out, a massive encroachment regime which has taken place, and that's another very important change which has in a sense been consolidated over time. There are some scholars like Akbar Saidi who think that the land question is gone, and so the question of land reforms or the question of land distribution is basically off the policy agenda, is no longer relevant. To what extent do you agree or disagree? And then there is a big question about patron-client relationship. What has happened? How have these changes changed the patron-client relationship? I think it's enough for now. Perhaps we could start with this and build around more discussion on those patterns, trying to capture both continuity and change.
This requires another talk. Well, I'll take the regional differences first. What I have put before you applies very much to all of Sindh, all of Punjab, and the settled areas of which we are talking. Pattern is the same. There are differences in the extent and scale of change. but the trends, directions are very similar. Balochistan is a very different kettle of fish. And that too, it's not uniform. There are very big differences between the Makran coast, the area of Loralai, and the Haran and Mastung areas. These are very distinct areas of Pakistan. Migration has not taken place from there. There are reasons why it has not taken place. In the case of Makran coasts, their link has always been more with Muscat than with Pakistan as a whole. It is only now, when the Muscatis have stopped importing them, that their links with Karachi are being strengthened because of the fishing industry. The fishing industry deserves a separate, completely separate analysis, actually. So there are differences, regional differences. And those regional differences you can see in the statistics of the census. Very major differences. Education levels. But the trends in NWFP and Punjab and Sindh, they are identical. Sindh has another problem which the other provinces don't have, and that is that it has Karachi, a city that swallows up everything. And as a result of migration to Sindh, because of Karachi, the people speaking local languages in Sindh has declined from 92% in 1941 to 61% in 1998. So there is this fear among the Sindhis that they will become a minority if this continues. This is really the struggle, the conflict between a powerful city and its hinterland. It's a common conflict, it's not a new conflict. There are many other ones. About continuity, yes, there are new alliances. And those alliances are in the shape of mafias. It is well recognized that land is power. And so these alliances are about acquiring land, both rural and urban, and about denying land to others. This is very marked in the case where big land holdings have been threatened by the emergence of small present proprietorships. I'll take the example, for instance, of the area of Dadu and Khairpur Nathan Shah in Sindh, or I take the area of Kotadu in the Punjab, where there is a whole process going on of acquiring land and turning out the tenant. Today's Kachi Abadis that are being created in Karachi, for instance, or in Hyderabad, or for that matter around Lodran, these are not Kachi Abadis of people who have chosen to move like previously. Previously the people chose to move. The people from the NWFP who came to Karachi, they chose to move because they wanted a better life. The new settlements that I am in the process of surveying today in the land study that I am currently doing are people who have been forced to move because of poverty and being thrown off the land and having no place to live once they have been turned off the land. And they are from southern Punjab. In the case of Karachi, they are from various parts of Sindh. There are a lot of people, other settlements of Pakhtuns who have been forced to move because of war. They did not want to move, but they are not going back. So you have this incredible development where certain clans have decided that they are going to own land in that area, and they are going to deny this opportunity to others. The same holds true of Karachi, where certain political groups have decided that they will own land. And they have told estate agents that if any property that comes up for sale, we are the first bidders. 17 estate agents were shot dead in Karachi in a period of less than a year. Investigations show they were those who did not listen to advice on real estate matters that was given to them. In the case of Lahore, in this whole struggle of having bylaws implemented, the Sharif brothers bulldozed a lot of commercial complexes. But those people who owned those commercial complexes very soon came to an understanding with the state, and they became a part and parcel of the loot on land around the circular road, or around the, what is it called? Circular road. Around the, no.
GT road.
No. What is it?
Ring road.
Ring road. Around the ring road. There is Rabia SD's work, study on this, which is really eye-opening on how all this operates. So there is this, the establishment and those who represented the establishment are in the process of consolidating their positions by this process of land acquisition. Okay, now, who opposes this? It is the mandi. It is the market. This is the opposition to it. But it is not strong enough today, and nor is it politically organized. Traditionally, it has never played politics. I give you an example of this. Some colleagues of mine were working on the Uch monuments restoration, and they asked me to come and work on the city because they felt monuments, the city should also develop. And they told me we have to first go and see Pir Bukhari and Pir Gilani. I said, why should I see them? They said, without their blessing, nothing happens in the city. I said, then I'll go home. So I went through the city, and it was not a Pir Bukhari, Pir Gilani city. It was a city with town, with centrifugal pumps, with tractors, with all the gadgetry of the industrial age. And I asked, is there Anjuman-e-Tajiran? They said, yes, we met with them. I asked them, I said, without the help of the Pirs, can we work there? They said, yes, there is one way. You go and see the DC and tell him that the SHO should not interfere with your work. Very, very important to understand the structure. So, SHO ka dab hai. You take away the powers of the SHO, Pakistan changes. You have a new political game. The SHO registers your FIR. He carries out the investigations. He presents those investigations before a court of law. His evidence determines the verdict of the judge. Qatl, zina, rassagiri, haqq shifa. These are the four things through which, because the SHO controls them, society is controlled by the state. So this is the system. Before Musharraf, when Musharraf was there, he asked for police reform. And the CPLC, that is the CP Community Police Liaison Committee, had presented a police reform package for him. Essentially, it took away the power of the SHO. At the initial meeting, Musharraf was very impressed and supported it. Subsequently, local government reform happened, but the Police Act remained the same. So, कहते हैं ना कि पाकिस्तान पे कब्जा करना है तो थानों पे कब्जा कर लो. I think there's a lot of truth in this. I think I've covered most of what you had.
In a very succinct and perceptive way. Thank you very much. Maybe we could